Teens Issues Africa.
Rape is a form of sexual assault that is notoriously underreported in Nigeria. It is estimated that 1 out of 4 Nigerian girls experience rape before reaching 18. And approximately about 35% of women worldwide experience sexual assault. Unfortunately, less than 40% of them seek help, and less than 10% of them seek law enforcement assistance. This means about 97% of rapists walk free, despite the fact that we have increase in activism. Justice is rare. This is why we need to talk about it. And today in Teen Issues Africa, we have a young girl who is smart, brilliant, intelligent. She is strong. As far as I am concerned, she is brave because she has experienced rape not once, not twice. But come to think of it, how many young girls will be able to go through this and come out strong? Rape is a crime against humanity. I am Blessing Sam Etok, and this is Teen Issues Africa. Stay with us.
Teens Issues Africa.
My name is Vicky, born and brought up Nigerian. Concerning my story, I have been through a lot. On the issue of rape, I know fully well rape, when it has to do with females, has been ignored. A lot of people ignore rape. Some say they don't have a voice, they are just females. They are girls, you're not supposed to talk. I grew up as someone who is not permitted to speak. In all of that, I lost the privilege of being a virgin. It happened to be at that time when girls would talk about virginity, boast about virginity, talk about how proud they are to be teenagers as a virgin, and angrily I would hate the world. I'll hate the world for the fact that they didn't give me voice. They didn't let me explain. They couldn't hear me. To every female out there, it's difficult, it's embarrassing, it's annoying, it's something you need to pay back, but forgiveness is key. It's not easy to forgive when you're constantly being abused, constantly being taken advantage of. It was hard to break out of. Rape, child abuse. Boldly, by heaven's grace, today I'm out of it. I'm out of the fact that I don't need to hate anyone anymore. Out of the fact that I can sleep peacefully without having nightmares of all I've been through. Out of the fact that I could stop being silent. Thank God today I help young females. I help young females grow out of the whole pain, the whole moment, the whole everything. It's not easy. It's painful. It's not something to say. I can say it because I'm out of it. I can say it because I'm free from it. I can say it because I can actually talk to a young female and know that have been through this. My family didn't teach me sex. Of course, I wasn't briefed on this. I wasn't briefed on what sex is, how is sex, stay away from sex as a young child. But I got to know sex the hard way. I got to know sex through rape. I got to know sex through force. And I got out of sex. I got out of the fact that I won't have nightmares anymore. A lot of people ask me, "Oh, you're young, you're beautiful, you don't understand me, you maybe you've not been through what I've been through." But my dear, I'll tell you, I've been through worse. I can remember in the year 2006, I had someone very close to the family. And whenever everyone goes out to school, work, my parents would go out to work and I'd be alone at home. I was constantly being taken. He will take and take and take and take from me. And then he will silence me. Not to speak, not to say a word, not to tell anyone. And whenever I try to explain to my mom in his absence, he would stand behind my mom staring at me. Surprisingly, my mom didn't understand what I was trying to say. Being a young girl who really wanted to tell her how I felt, she would tell me, "What am I talking about? She's not understanding me." It's hurting, very hurting. I finally told my mom, and I got to tell her late. We shared, we talked. I can still remember when I got raped. A friend of mine had a birthday, finishing from secondary school. He wanted to do a get-together and I was so excited. Okay, a get-together. We met. Females were supposed to cook while the rest of the guys were preparing themselves. I was in the kitchen and I was alone at that time. Nobody had come yet, so I needed to start. I got drugged. I got abused. Or should I say rape? No, it's not an abuse, it's rape. Both of them. I was bleeding. I was bleeding, and it was on a Tuesday, December. I had rehearsals. I wouldn't forget, I took my pain to God. I took my pain to the church. I laid at the altar and I cried. I cried so hard, so much. So, I've just listed out 2 of my experience, but I want you to know that my experience is more than 2. My advice to every female going through hectic, draining, embarrassing moments of rape, you better speak out. It's not easy. Find someone to talk to. Get help. Get help. You must not come out or anything, but get help. Forgive. Before you get your help, forgive someone. Forgive who has hurt you so that you can forgive yourself. So that tomorrow you can touch something and it works for you. So that tomorrow helpers will locate you. Thank God for my family who stood by me, who helped me, who held my hands. My friends that I call family. I'm grateful to God that I came out of it. Today I'm just a young woman, businesswoman, and also an influencer. Today I'm a voice for females. Today I can breathe and walk around and stand for any female. My darling girls, you can get out of it. Teen Issues Africa, I want to say thank you very much for this moment, for the fact that I got to share and I got to let females out there know that they can take a bold step to embrace future. I know some females out there have lost hope. I want to thank Teen Issues for this opportunity. Keep watching Teen Issues Africa. I love you all. Thank you.
Teens Issues Africa.
It is still Teen Issues Africa. Yes, and that is a story. But come to think of it, how many young girls have the same experience and nobody, no single person is even aware.
And then another girl who was an eyewitness to this inhuman act. Let's listen.
Teen Issues Africa, my name is AJ Olive. I have been a witness to a rape case. As a growing child in the neighborhood where your parents trust a certain kind of person, when you all come back from school, you are sent to go and stay there until your parents come home without any doubt whatsoever, or sitting back to think what will happen with your children under that certain person. So that fateful day, I and my friend, we all came back, we all went to him, daddy as usual as we call him. We went there and then for a moment I went to get something, only for me to come back and hear the screams of my friend from this man's house. And I went in there to check, only to see this inhuman act. This big, that is old enough to be our grandfather, pounding on the little girl. It was horrible, and horrible sight. And at the moment when the man caught us, he came with all the threats that we're not allowed to tell anybody, we're not allowed to tell any adult, our parents or anything. We have to keep quiet, we won't tell anybody, or he'll poison us, and all sorts of threats. And we had to live with that. And I watched my friend go from a bright, vibrant girl into a very sad person. She was now reserved and depressed. She lost her self-esteem. And at the point when it got too much, and we tried to tell the parents about it, it even got worse, because they were now accusing her of all sorts of immoral acts, that she lost her virginity and this and that. And they didn't particularly take into study what the man did. They all doubted us because it's a man that we all trust and we can't do that sort of thing. So my advice to parents here is, please be careful the people you leave your children with. You can't completely trust anybody when it comes to, especially your young daughters. And don't raise your children to be afraid to talk to you of anything. Don't doubt them. Hear them out. Get to know the details of what they are telling you about. Raise your children openly so that they can tell you anything that is going wrong. And be careful the people you let your children stay with. Thank you. Keep watching Teens Issue Africa. I love Teens Issue Africa. Thank you.
Teens Issues Africa.
It is still Teen Issues Africa, and joining us is a legal practitioner, the Principal Counsel Basic Rights Council Initiative, the Chairperson Child Protection Network Cross River State Chapter, James Ibor. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you for having me.
And so, basically, why do people think that most rape victims brought the experience on themselves?
I think it's because of the rape culture. We live in a patriarchal society where people are socialized to believe that women are subservient and most times naturally responsible for their misfortune. Because by the time you try to justify a crime and make the survivor or the victim to take responsibility for being violated, it shows you how deep patriarchy has eaten into our society. It's actually a way the society has made it so perpetrators can easily escape taking responsibility. It has always been there. We live in a patriarchal society. You see a situation where somebody is stoned for adultery, a woman is stoned for adultery, but nobody talks about the man. It takes two to tango. So we see these things even recorded in the Abrahamic books, the Quran, the scripture, the Bible, and even in our records. Women are punished double for crimes most times that should be committed by people who should be spending their lives in jail. Women are made, or survivors are made to take responsibility first. While they are struggling to deal with the violation itself, they are also punished for being violated.
While they're struggling to deal with the violation itself, they're also punished for being violated. That's amazing. So if rape and sexual abuse is a crime against the state, what should the law enforcement do even when the victim and the family involved do not want justice or legal process?
Yes, you see, crimes generally are crimes against the state. The state has taken it as their responsibility to protect the society because that is their responsibility. The duty of governance is to protect lives and property. And by the time you commit a crime, it means you are challenging the authority of the state, and the state is committed to keep the society together. So that explains why criminal wrongs or crimes, are directly protected by the state itself because they have the capacity, the wherewithal to keep society together. Now, rape is a crime, but unfortunately, is that kind of crime that government or institutions saddled with the responsibility of implementing or protecting the survivors and victims, that they are a bit reluctant because why should an institution say it's because the survivor is not willing, when society has frustrated the survivor in such a way that the survivor will genuinely say, yes, I don't want to press charges. The survivor is saying, I don't want to press charges, not because he or she is not willing to press charges, but because society will stigmatize her. Most survivors of rape cannot speak up because they are stigmatized. They are stigmatized because we live in a patriarchal society. There is this blame game that goes around. That look, maybe you were raped because of the way you're dressed, and we are aware so many studies have been carried out. Not one has supported that lie that women are raped because of the way they are dressed. Most people are saying, because you why didn't you shout? Most survivors will not have the opportunity to shout because of the circumstances surrounding the entire situation. So this blame game has to stop. When they say they don't want prosecution, they don't really mean that. It's because the system there's no enabling environment. When people say, look, you must be married as a virgin, and for you to have been deflowered means you were reckless, you're a sex worker, you're irresponsible. So people would rather not want people to talk about it, because society has a standard, and that standard works against the interest of survivors of rape. And also, some of these institutions saddled with the responsibility of detecting the crime of rape and prosecuting offenders are not properly funded. For instance, the police force. The police force oftentimes request for money to carry out investigation because they are poorly funded. Their capacity is very poor, and you can't blame most of them. A situation where you report a case in the police station, they tell you, well, we need money to go and do arrest. We need money to do that. We need money to do that. And remember, and once a crime is not properly investigated, there's no how you will succeed in prosecuting.
Okay, and so finally, sir, many countries' law against sexual assault are insufficient, inconsistent, and not regularly enforced. This can leave the victim convinced that getting law enforcement involved will do no good. So what's your take on this?
Well, in the case of Nigeria, I don't think our penal provisions are insufficient. I think the biggest challenge we have as a country is implementation. For instance, Section 32 of the Child Rights Act expressly prohibits any sexual activity with any person under the age of 18, regardless of consent, and the punishment is life imprisonment. And if you also sexually assault an adult, the punishment is also prescribed in the Criminal Code Act, and it's a felony which carries punishment above. The minimum punishment is 3 years and above, and the maximum is life imprisonment. So the problem is not insufficiency of penal provisions. The problem is implementing these penal provisions. How do we detect? Do we have the capacity to detect the crime of rape? Because the standard of proof has not changed. The standard of proof is still beyond reasonable doubt. And for felonies, it is not just beyond reasonable doubt. You need to corroborate the evidence, especially for crime of rape. And corroboration in this circumstance will mean a third party seeing and saying, yes, I saw it happen. Or a scientific evidence, like medical evidence, or fingerprints, or any scientific evidence corroborating the fact already, or other facts already obtained. Because these facts must agree. Remember, the maximum punishment is life imprisonment. The court will not afford to send somebody or confine somebody in any custodial correctional facility without being sure, beyond reasonable doubt, that the person committed the crime. So we need to empower the police force. We need to empower the Ministry of Justice. We need to empower even the judiciary, so we can detect. We know the effect of rape. Most survivors of rape will never be the same again. It means their contribution to our economy, to society, is limited or reduced, if not frustrated, for those who even survive it.
So what's your word for every young person, especially teenagers, who has ever experienced this?
First, I want every survivor of sexual assault to accept the fact that yes, it has happened and they need help. They need to talk with a counselor, they need to talk with a psychologist and medical practitioner as often as they can afford. There are so many civil society organizations that are willing to give them that support so they can overcome the trauma and those things, those experiences that come with such a crime. And above all, never hide the perpetrator.
Thank you, sir. It was such an awesome moment having you.
Yes, so here with us is a legal practitioner. He's also the Principal Counsel, Basic Right Counsel Initiative. He is the chairperson, Child Protection Network, Cross River State Chapter. I'm talking about James Ibor. Many thanks for making our time to be on the show today.
Thank you, it's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Teens Issues Africa.
My name is James Ibor, the Principal Counsel, Basic Rights Council Initiative, and the Chairperson, Child Protection Network, Cross River State. I love Teen Issues Africa. It's your best companion. When last did you watch Teen Issues Africa? Waiting for you.
Teens Issues Africa.
Rape is dishonorable, immoral, and sinful to humanity. Let's ensure that it is outrightly condemned by all. This is still Teen Issues Africa. Remember that you are your very best, because if it is not you, it can never and will never ever be you. Please do just one thing for us today. Run to YouTube, subscribe to our channel, Teen Issues Africa. Follow us on all the social media handles at Teen Issues Africa. And remember to send your questions and your comments to the numbers displayed on the screen. Teen Issues Africa, preferring solution to teens. I am Blessing Sam Etok. Bye for now.